shaved? Does that mean that you're feeling good about the team, or after the scrimmage?
Training camp beard. Training camp's over. The training camp beard goes right along with it. So, geez, what do we come to? What's happening?
Anyways, I mean, I asked Eric the same thing. Every school has experience coming back because of the way, because of the times, obviously. But are you ahead of where you would be ordinarily 2 weeks out, just because so many guys have familiarity?
Well, let's take it in the last 3 years. We're ahead of where we've been in going into 19 and 20 because we're year 2 in the system with all the players back. So I think there's some more familiarity in that regard than where we've been in the past. You're not explaining to guys how to practice, how to meet, all those type of things. The guys understand the expectations of the staff. So from that standpoint, I do think we are ahead. We've talked about in the past, we've not always been an old team at Miami because we lose a lot of our guys after their third year. So this is a little bit unique from what I've been around going on year 6 here.
Manny, now that you've watched the film, where do you feel you are now, a little less than 2 weeks out the game day?
I think we're ready to play a game, I think we've done all the banging against each other that we can do. I think our guys are ready to, get into game planning and scheming up on how to move the ball on somebody, how to stop somebody else. But I'm pleased. I'm pleased with what both sides have shown throughout the course of training camp. I'm pleased with the way our specialists have performed throughout training camp. Where again, you're trying to build a team is very often defined not by how strong is your strength, but how weak is your weakness. And I think we made strides at every position group to make ourselves a tough team to beat.
So is this kind of the week where the Bama prep really starts to ramp up?
Yeah, today was a bridge day. Today we covered basically all special situations, onside kick, Hail Marys, things like that, taking a safety, just all the kind of bizarre things that really, really matter in terms of winning and losing. Tomorrow we'll start in earnest in, Alabama Tuesday practice.
Manny, was Zion at practice today, and then can you speak on how Nesta looked in the scrimmage? You said
start with Nesta. Nesta scrimmaged very well. Again, was disruptive, but played blocks well. And again, I just think the improvement of our defense will coincide with the improvement of our defensive tackle play. So I thought he did a good job of putting on tape the way Coach Simpson wants it. And Zion was out there today. I think we're getting ready on the other side of the scrimmage. Kind of getting his reps up. Getting ready to go play Alabama.
Manny, with Devontae Williams, his case was closed.
Right.
The prosecutors did not press charges. And I know I talked to the lawyer he said Devontae would like to be back on the team. Are you reconsidering that? What's the situation with that?
Yeah, right. Well, right now we're trying to get all the official documents, to find out where everything's at, so we can explore all the alternatives that are available. So that, like I said, right now we're trying to get the documents in so we can have all the information, so that the decision makers can make the best decision with all the information available.
Manny, from a defensive standpoint, Alabama has a new offensive coordinator. He's coached a while, so you probably can look at different things. But how does that kind of complicate your preparation for the game?
In an opening game, there's always going to be a little bit of unknown. I think it's been said out of their shop a bunch of times that they have an Alabama offense. They've had a run of coordinators that have come through. Everyone has sort of flavored the offense slightly differently, but I think the who they are and their identity and those type of things probably is not going to change that dramatically. Obviously, who they are in terms of their personnel has changed, so there's a little bit of an unknown of that as well in terms of because obviously they had such a run of guys that left the team this past year or so. But season openers, I don't think normally are dominated by scheme. It's normally it's going to be about tackling. It's going to be about protecting the football, turnovers, because of the limited times that we're allowed to scrimmage. A college team can only scrimmage twice in training camp now. Special teams, those type of things, conditioning levels. So these things that historically decide season openers. I think of our game against Florida a couple years ago. Special teams and turnovers cost a game between two teams that we're going after pretty good. So, we always expect in an opener you'll find some plays that you have not practiced for. But I think if you just follow your rules, it should sort you out.
How do you get guys to not? The numbers for the virus people got here just they are what they are. How do you get guys to not let the virus happen?
Yeah, well, that's trickier this year than even last year because of what's going on outside this building, right? I think I think they know that when we get into here and this time of year that it's about protecting the team, and you have to make team choices sometimes over individual choices. But the reality is they spend a lot more time outside this building than they do inside this building. So you don't know. That's why I'm thankful that we have such a high percentage of guys vaccinated. I heard that today the FDA gave full approval to the Pfizer one and all Pfizer ones. So, that may change some policy here on campus. We'll kind of roll with it. But, our number of guys that are not vaccinated is, we've talked percentages. It may be a dozen or so. It's not a gigantic number. So, but no matter what, everybody's got to stay safe. We're still following protocols here in the building, and it's still here with us.
What is the biggest reason you're getting for those dozen not getting vaccinated?
It runs the gamut, and I don't want to speak for them, but there's just, it probably mirrors the same reasons of the general population, which I'm sure you can sort that out.
I know certain guys haven't been able to practice fully just because they've been banged up, but what have you thought about the running backs? Have they stepped up? I guess how you hope they would during this part of camp?
Yeah, I think to your point, we haven't had all those guys around for all of camp, kind of like we've seen enough of all of them, based on what they've done last year and the years prior, and then what we've seen through spring ball and fall camp to know that we like all three of them. But I think the competition for who gets the first carry rages on into this week, and not because it's a bad thing. We're worried that we don't have someone that can. I think we're still trying to figure out how we're going to divvy up the snaps and the carries there.
How do you feel about Cam Harris's look from between this year and last year?
I think Cam's looked really good. I mean, he's in great condition. He's strong. He had a great offseason before last year too, and started the season last year in great shape, and had 2 great games to start the year. And I think he knows now this year it's about a consistent level of performance. So again, he gives us that older guy urgency. So yeah, I'm excited he's one of us.
Manny, is there an area of your team, either position group or a certain thing that you guys are doing a little bit better now, or what's made the biggest stride since when you started fall camp to where you're at today?
Say it in a different way.
Which is there a position group that's made the biggest stride since fall camp began, or maybe you guys are doing something a little bit better than a little bit better?
I think there's several. I think certainly we've seen the linebackers make strides throughout camp. I think the defensive line, getting an intense 2.5 week session where you're going every day with Coach Simpson. I think what was sporadic in spring is turning into normal now. Same thing in the secondary. Now with spring, you're going every other day. I think fall camp it is intensive. So being around T-Rob every day. So I've seen all those position groups come. I think the wide receiver room, with the influx of the 3 new guys that weren't here with us in the spring, so you see what that adds and the depth in the competition that adds in that room. So yeah, I don't see a spot where we've gone backwards. I think everybody's made a good push to be a better version of themselves than they were in the spring and for sure last year.